Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Cozy Mystery Mingle. I'm here with the fabulous Carlene O'Connor.
Hello.
So, as you can see, it is bright and sunny and beautiful where Carlene is. And she's surrounded by beautiful gardens and plants. Looks like you have like lots of plants in the background.
There's a lot of trees around here, and I have a little bit of a garden in the front yard, but right now not too much is growing.
Okay, that's all right.
Yep.
So we're here to talk about your latest book, which you have a lot of different books. So maybe we
Yes.
should just take a step back. Tell us a little bit about you and all the different books that you write and you're going to write and you're in the process and future books and all that.
I write two different murder mystery series set in Ireland. And the one that just came out today, as a matter of fact, is the 10th in my longest running series, which is the Irish Village Mysteries. And I don't know how well you can see it, but there it is behind me.
Yep.
Murder at an Irish Chipper. So it's book number 10. For those who are familiar with it, the O'Sullivan clan, they're all going on Siobhan and McDara's honeymoon to Lahinch, Ireland. And then I write a second series that's a little bit darker. That's set in County Kerry. That's the County Kerry Mysteries. And it features a veterinarian, Dimpna Wild, and Detective Inspector Cormac O'Brien.
Very cool. All right. So are those also very Irish like this?
Yeah, they're definitely very Irish. And I have a third one that there was only two books in the series set in Galway. Those were also cozies, the Home to Ireland mysteries. But right now I am continuing the characters through holiday novellas. Irish Milkshake Murder just came out in that series. But yeah, all of mine are very Irish, set in Ireland. The County Kerry mysteries technically aren't cozies. They're definitely darker and deal with darker themes. I think because my cozy series is so long running, I've heard some people refer to the County Kerry mysteries as cozies, but they're definitely not.
Okay.
To me, there's still Irish charm and humor and hope in them. They're not cozy mysteries. They're just regular old mysteries.
Okay. That's good. All right. So let's talk about the Irish Village Mysteries. So this is book number 10, right?
Yeah.
All right. So in the Irish Chipper, maybe just give us an overview of the plot and what's going on for this book.
Yes. So, like I said, Siobhan and McDara, who've been married for about a year and had not yet had a chance to take their honeymoon, have discovered that there's a chipper, a fish and chip shop in Lahinch that's kind of in danger of going under. And Siobhan O'Sullivan absolutely loves to eat curried chips. And when she finds out about this chipper, and it turns out the couple who owned it are going through kind of a nasty divorce. And the husband, kind of as revenge, opened a brand new chip shop right across the street. So it's kind of like the war of the chippers. And Siobhan goes to kind of taste it and see what's going on between this couple, maybe support the wife that's going through the divorce. But of course, when they get there, dead bodies always seem to follow Siobhan O'Sullivan around. And this time it's no exception. Mrs. Chips is found dead in her chipper. And even though there's a local Garda on scene who Siobhan really likes, he doesn't mind their help. So McDara and Siobhan decide to pitch in to try to figure out this locked door mystery in the fish and chip shop.
All right. So let's take a step back and talk about Irish words, because the first time when I read the first book, it was Garda. And I was like, Garda, is this like a fancy nickname? It is not a fancy nickname, right?
Yes. And it's funny because, it's Garda, Gardaí, the guards, just like we would say police officer, cop, police. So there's the Garda Síochána, the Guardians of the Peace, which is the Irish police force, in Ireland. So it might be guards, it might be Garda, it might be Gardaí for plural.
Yeah. All right. And then let's also talk about the most important part, which are chips. So chips are not like our potato chips, right?
Yes, they're what we would call these are more like we would call steak fries. They're the thick potatoes. Yes, but they call those chips, and they call what we would call potato chips. They call those crisps.
Okay. And the chips you're talking about, she likes curried chips, which means, are they curried or does she just dip it in a curry sauce?
No, they usually at the fish and chip shop, they pour curry sauce over the chips.
Okay.
I'm
And
sure
is
you
that
do, but most people love the curried chips. Yeah.
and is that your favorite way to enjoy fish and chips?
Yeah, I think they taste good that way. So when I have fish and chips, I definitely have the curry sauce on it. And I also like vinegar on mine, but yeah, they're really good. And a lot of times too, they put them, if you're getting it for a takeaway, they're put in like little paper bags that you can then kind of shake them up and
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And they're not, so they don't dip theirs in mayonnaise, right? That's a totally different country.
Well, I mean, it's not a regular thing to do. I'm sure you'd find some people who might decide to. I haven't told every Irish person to see, but the times I've gone, I mean, they put mayonnaise on different things, and sometimes they even put crisps in their sandwiches, like potato chip sandwiches, but not necessarily with the curry chips that I've seen.
Okay. All right. So this is book 10. And how is this one different than books 1 through 9?
I mean, they're all different. Obviously, I try to figure out different murder. The biggest difference with this is that instead of being in Kilbane, their hometown, they go to Lahinch, Ireland. So they're on vacay and they're by the ocean. And it's also fun to bring along the whole O'Sullivan clan. And then there are some plot developments with the siblings by the end of the book, but I'm not going to give it away. But they're just on vacay.
Okay.
They're holiday.
And if someone's picking this book up, because you know how it is, sometimes you pick up books from the library and like one comes available before the others and they've never read any of the others, like what should they know going into book 10?
I always try to make them standalone, so they should totally be able to understand and get caught up. I can't catch them up with all the history, the personal history of the characters. But what's great is a lot of time people will pick up a book out of order and then they'll like it. So they'll want to go back to the beginning to kind of see how the characters came to be and developed and, just get all those great little details. But it absolutely can be a standalone where you don't have to know anything about the previous books to be able to pick up and enjoy the mystery.
Okay. But the cool thing about this one is it's in an Irish village. It mostly focuses on Siobhan, but Siobhan has a huge family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many siblings are there total? I forget.
There's a total of 6 of them. So they're called the O'Sullivan 6. Okay. Now, technically, James is older than Siobhan. But when they were growing up, he was kind of, drinking a lot. And so she became the mother figure when the parents passed away. But now Siobhan only has Kieran and Anne at home. Grant and James and Owen are kind of, they're grown up and out of the house. Although Owen is opening a restaurant on her property. So they're all hovering around still a bit. But all the kids are getting grown now. By the next book, I think they're all out of the house.
Wow. Okay. And she's married in this book.
She's married. She married Detective Sergeant McDara O'Sullivan or McDara Flannery, but they're the O'Sullivans now, O'Sullivan Flannerys. And they've been married just a year, and that's why they're going on their belated honeymoon.
With the whole family.
Of course. How else would they do it? With the whole family.
All right. And then, so there's some other family dynamics. So Mr. and Mrs. Chipper are also divorced, right?
Yes.
And so Siobhan went there originally for who's the original fish, the woman, the wife, Mrs. Chipper.
Yeah, it's actually Chips. And that's their nickname. They call them Mr. and Mrs. Chips because they own this fish chip shop. But Mrs. Chips, she is still in the original restaurant that she and her husband opened up. But since they've been divorced, they're having a big, it's the War of the Chippers. He opened a brand new one across the street.
Okay. And is he the one that dies, or can you tell us?
No, she dies.
She dies. Okay. Yeah. But she dies in her shop or his shop? What's that?
I'm going to send you a copy.
Okay. So she dies in his shop or her shop?
She dies in her shop. She's found at the bottom of a ladder. She's covered in flour, and somebody stuck a jar of vinegar by her head, as if she herself is ready to be dipped in batter, but she is gone.
Well, now I get it. That's why you mentioned you like having your chips with some vinegar.
It's not, but that should have been why.
All right. So this is at an Irish seaside. Is this a real city or is this a make-believe city?
Lahinch is a real place. Now,
Okay.
a lot of people know Kilbane is made up.
Mhm.
It's based on Kilmallock, County Limerick, Ireland. But Lahinch is a real place on the west coast of Ireland that a lot of Irish people go to. It's beautiful. It's right on the ocean, the
Mhm.
beach. It's just a little seaside town. People go there to surf and all sorts of things.
Oh, nice. Have you been there?
I have not. It's on my list. But all my Irish friends just, how you hear something, and then you just hear it mentioned over and over.
Mhm.
I just suddenly heard all these different Irish friends talk about Lahinch. And then
Mhm.
I actually even have some friends here who have been to Lahinch. So a lot of research on it, but I'm definitely going to have to go in person because it just looks gorgeous.
Right. Okay. Are there a bunch of, I'm actually not familiar with the geography of Ireland. I've only been to Dublin. Are there a lot of seaside villages? I mean, it's obviously surrounded by the sea.
Yeah, there are actually on both coasts, like Kinsale. You've got
Mhm.
Kinsale on the east, but on the west coast, there's a lot. From Dingle, where my other series is set, all the way up to Lahinch. I think the most popular kind of beachy town is Lahinch, though.
Okay. All right. Cool. So talking about Ireland, does anyone in the O'Sullivan clan or any references in your book, do they speak Gaelic?
Um, It's actually in Ireland. They don't call it Gaelic. It is called the Irish language. Gaelic is an
Mhm.
umbrella for many different Gaelic languages, including Scottish and things like that. So it would be the Irish language, and they in school they took it, so they know phrases, they know prayers. None of them are fluent or speak to each other in
Mhm.
Irish, but they would understand, a few common phrases.
Okay. Are there any catchphrases that the O'Sullivans say that maybe Americans wouldn't get?
I do have a lot, not necessarily just the O'Sullivans, but in a lot of my books, there are phrases that Irish people say. What's the crack? Just means, what's fun, what's new. Craic. So it's not a drug. um, and they might say things like, I'm doing my messages, and that just means they're going shopping.
Oh,
So I have a lot of fun, just little phrases like that sometimes peppered in.
okay. Yeah, I've never heard of those. So Ireland. So everyone loves Ireland. And in fact, there were a bunch of readers that at one time wanted to go with you to Ireland, right? To check out all the places.
Yeah, there was going to be a tour with a tour group. I was so excited about it because my mom was going to go too. But then they didn't. A couple things happened at once. They hadn't quite reached the number they wanted for their signups, and then
Mhm.
COVID hit. So, like a lot of plans that got kind of topsy turvy after that. But I have had readers, and it's just kind of thrilled me that have visited Kilmallock,
Mhm.
which Kilbane is based on. I recently had a lady visit Kilmallock, and I said, make sure you tell me about it. So she emailed me afterwards, what a great time they had, which I was relieved because I guess when she first got in, it was raining and she walked about the town and she didn't quite see the magic of it. But she was tired and she said, oh, they just went to bed and they decided to tour the town again the next day. And the next day it wasn't raining, and they were refreshed, and she got it. She was able to enjoy the ruined Dominican Priory and the town castle. And it's a medieval walled town. It's a really adorable town. So um, the cities are great. I mean, I love Dublin and Galway and
Mhm.
Cork. But I like the little towns, the little villages, because that's what's so different and unique to me, where you can really get to know the people. And of course, smaller towns are great for murder mysteries as well.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. Maybe there could be a murder mystery all the readers could solve.
That's Yeah, there was actually going to be some little fun game like that. So it'd be great if we could do it again in the future. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Are there any plans to do another one?
No, there are no concrete plans, at this point. But you never know, right?
Yeah. Oh, someone's here. Donna, someday I hope to visit Ireland. We didn't get there when we visited England 30 years ago. Yeah, everyone loves Ireland.
That's like me with Scotland and Northern Ireland. My great grandmother's actually from Northern Ireland, Ballymena. So my next trip, I'm going to have to make sure I go to Scotland and I go to Northern Ireland. You know, it's ironic when you're so close and then you don't make it
Mhm.
to these other countries. But yeah, definitely, and maybe even Wales, because that's right in there too, right? So
Yeah.
try to squeeze as much as you can out of when you finally get to a location.
Yeah, that's true. So let's talk about food again, my favorite subject. So Naomi's Bistro and O'Sullivan Six, those are two different restaurants, right?
Yes, the O'Sullivan Six hasn't opened yet. That's the one Owen is going to open on Siobhan and
Oh,
McDara's new property. So
okay,
that'll open in the next book.
got
So,
it. So
yeah.
what kind of food is served at each? Like, are they different? Are they the same?
The bistro would have served more like, just typical, breakfast and lunch. They would have been closed for supper. So the
Mhm.
bistro would be more sandwiches and scones and light fare. The restaurant, I mean, Owen's a really good chef. So the restaurant's actually going to be like a more upscale farm to table restaurant.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Very
They have,
important that I figure out the food that is in the
yeah.
book. So, do you have a favorite Irish like meal or food item?
Um, Not particularly one. I mean, I do. One of the reasons I made Siobhan like be so good at making brown bread, and it's such a simple thing, brown bread, but I really loved the brown bread in Ireland that's kind of served with tea or soup or really anything. Um, but when I was in Galway and Connemara, which is right by the ocean, I really liked, they had really great fish chowder and things like that. I went to a French restaurant owned by an Irish couple in Limerick, and that was delicious. So they have a variety of food and restaurants. They eat a lot, which I love, bacon and cabbage, but it's not like American bacon. It's more like a ham. And that dish is really good. Ironically, I've not had shepherd's pie in Ireland, but I like to have it here in the US.
Okay. Do you have it? Do you cook all these meals?
I do not, and that's kind of as a cozy mystery writer. At first, I was afraid they're gonna like kick me out of the genre, because even when I put recipes in, I usually get them from Irish cookbooks. I have a friend. I met a man who is an Irish chef in Northern Ireland at a castle, and he has some great cookbooks out. And he said I could use any of his recipes, and I always credit him in the booklet. But I am not. I am not a cook. Like I'm okay at cooking, but I'm live by myself, and it just every time I cook I have all these leftovers I never know how to get rid of. So I do not do a ton of cooking. And then when I started writing cozies, I thought, oh no, because they want all these recipes, right? But I'm happy to just like bug my Irish friends for recipes or get them from Irish cookbooks.
All right. Well, you're Irish, right?
Well, yeah. When I say Irish, though, like I'm not born in Ireland, Irish. My DNA, I know we did the test. It's like 74% Irish, and on both my parents' side, a lot of ancestors from Ireland. But I feel like it's kind of cheating. Like sometimes it annoys Irish people when Americans say they're Irish because okay, you have Irish in you, but you're not Irish. You don't. You're not born in Ireland.
I mean, 74% is an overwhelmingly high. Plus, you look Irish, the blonde, the blue eyes. I know people answer your eyes, but
Well,
yeah.
what's funny is I have a really good long-term friend in New York City. He's an Irish bartender, and when I first met him, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm Irish," and he'd be like, "No, you're American." And then, like all these years later, I'll be like, "Oh, I'm American." He's like, "No, you're Irish." So we've completely flipped. We've completely flipped our point of views. But
Hmm.
I don't. I obviously love being Irish, having Irish, heritage and background. But I think it's just worth me mentioning since I write a series set in Ireland. I'm just very cognizant of not claiming to be Irish born.
Got it. So Donna wants to know, do you know how many books will eventually be in your series?
Yeah, I do not. I think the publisher, they kind of just take it on like sales. They're a
Mhm.
business. So they look at series and if they're doing well, they keep asking you to write them. And I'm just very fortunate, knock on wood, that the series is doing well. So I think there's probably going to be quite a few. There's no end in sight at this point.
And you said you've already started book 11, right?
I will be starting. I have a novella to finish.
Okay.
I'm on a novella right now that'll be due at the end of the month. And as soon as I finish the novella, I have to start what the next one. I already know what the theme is, and I have like a brief outline, but I will start writing it in March.
Okay. And let's talk about Siobhan. So Siobhan's the star of this entire series. And Siobhan, if I remember, she's a redhead, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how much is Siobhan? Let's talk about her personality and kind of like, is she quirky? Is she funny? Is she loud? Is she demure? Like, how would you describe
No,
her?
she's I think some people might call her quirky. She's very intelligent. She's got a great heart. She's got a very sarcastic but smart wit about her. She just really is, she's really attuned to people, and she's really smart. I adore her. I think I wrote qualities in her that I liked in a person. I have a good friend named Siobhan, so I kind of stole her name. I had an ex-Irish boyfriend with the last name O'Sullivan, McDara O'Sullivan, so I kind of split the name and gave them O'Sullivan and gave, McDara the first name. So she's not me, but she has qualities that are me and qualities that I like. My mom's a redhead, so I made her a redhead. So I usually have a combination of me and other people and characters, but then when you start writing them, they really do become their own person.
Okay. So, I mean, how much would you say is she like a mini Mary? Like, how much of her is like you?
No, I'd say not much at all. I mean, first of all, there's a huge age difference between us now. Although she was in her 20s when the series started. Now she's in her 30s, but she's really tall. She's a lot taller than me. She has the red hair. She's younger. We might have the same kind of sarcastic humor at times, but the funny thing is, you know, it seems like Irish people can get away with the humor if they have that great accent, whereas sometimes I can't get away with the same humor, without the accent.
Yeah. I mean, you could start practicing the accent.
I know I could, but I don't want to be deceitful. But it can come out if I've had a few Guinnesses.
And so, who is her sidekick? Because she has so many siblings.
Oh, yeah. Is there supposed to be one? She really doesn't.
Who does she go to talk about things?
Yeah. So she has a couple of good friends, although they haven't been in the last few books because they've kind of gone off in other directions too. Her friend Ashling. But right now there is Areta Dabiri, which is the new Garda on the force. So I guess you could technically call Areta, but she's so involved in her family. Like they're so involved in each other's business that I really think I would still have to say family.
All right. Oh, and we didn't even touch on this. I forgot to ask. Her husband, because he's Garda, does he like her investigating things or does he get annoyed?
Yeah, he's a detective sergeant. No, he loves it. It's one of the things he loves about Siobhan. He knows how bright she is. He considers her an equal. And in fact, in the upcoming book, he's now convinced her to take the detective sergeant exams because she's been a Garda now for quite a while, and she's ready for that next step herself. So they work really well together. And it's funny because I thought, once they marry, is there going to have to be a lot of conflict between them? But they really work well together, and they're not a source of conflict for each other. They're a source of love and support.
Oh, nice. So there's no Penny in the books though?
So Lisa is friends with me, and she knows Penny is my dog. There's no Penny in the book. In the Home to Ireland series, there is an Irish wolfhound, and in the new County Kerry series, my main character is a veterinarian. So there's tons of animals in that book. In the Irish Village, they do have Trigger though, which is their Jack Russell Terrier. So they do have a little dog,
but not a Penny.
They don't have a Penny, but Trigger is featured in Murder in an Irish Chipper because he comes along for the honeymoon too.
Oh, all right. And Penny's inside, I'm guessing.
Yes, my dog Penny is inside. We just went for a walk, so she's laid out.
All right. What's Penny's favorite treat?
She likes those chewy. They're made by Chewy. They're good and fun. They're just like these little chew sticks. She likes those. She likes bones. She likes chicken. Really, anything you give her, she.
Happy dog. Anyway. All right. So let's talk about your writing plans for 2024.
Okay, great. And while we're talking, I'm going to move inside because I just noticed my phone is on very low battery. So I write about 2.5 books a year. Mm-hmm. So I write one in the County Kerry series. I write one in the Irish Village. And then I'm usually writing a novella. So I'm finishing up the novella for this year. And then I will start the next Irish Village. And when that is done, then I will start the next County Kerry.
Okay, great. And then what other books are coming out from you this year, or do you know?
So they've just kind of come out. Irish Milkshake Murder just came out. Oh, there's my little Guinness.
Oh, nice.
Irish Milkshake Murder just came out. And Murder in an Irish Chipper just came out. So those are 2 that came out before Patty's Day. And then I'm really excited about this. If you like the darker mysteries, in October, the 3rd in the County Kerry series will be coming out. And it's called You Have Gone Too Far.
Nice. So let me just ask one question about the darker mysteries. Who's the starring? It's not an amateur sleuth then, right?
It's not, no. I mean, Dimpna Wild, who's the veterinarian, though, she does help solve some of the mysteries, but it's mainly solved by the detective inspector, Cormac O'Brien.
So it's more of a procedural.
Yes, it's more of a procedural. Yeah.
All right. Very cool.
And to be honest, the Irish Village is no longer an amateur sleuth either. It's a procedural as well, because Siobhan is an official Garda.
Oh, yeah. Now she is. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So where can readers find you online?
So they can find me carleneoconnor.net. And I did finally get that updated and get my blog updated. And they could also sign up for my newsletter if they wish. I'm on Facebook. Okay. I don't know the exact URL, but it's Carlene O'Connor Mysteries on Facebook. And Instagram, I'm at WriterGirlChai.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Well, thanks so much for sharing all that awesome stuff about your book and your series.
Thank you. It's so good to see you.
Too. Bye.